Kafka is arrested, and the headquarters discuss what to do with him. Many approve of shooting him down and using him as a weapon or even a biological one. In the midst of this, the director of the defense force, Isao Shinomiya, Kikoru's father, orders the 3rd Division to deliver Kaiju number 8. In the 3rd Division, Kafka is kept under constant observation. He wonders what will happen to him now. It seems his dream has been extinguished once again. Mina appears to take Kafka to headquarters. He tries to call out to her, but gives up. He understands that she can't do much. After all, she has to fulfill what is expected of her position. Outside, soldiers from the 3rd Division await him for escort duty. Kafka can't even look at them. He feels he betrayed everyone's trust by acting that way. But as he boards the convoy, Ichikawa calls out to him, saying she's sure he'll come back. Mina adds that when Kafka ran without hesitation and saved the base, she was surprised he was a kaiju, but also thought it was just like him. She's gathering all the evidence she can to prove Kafka is human so she can save him from execution. They will also speak of his performance as a troop member. She makes it clear that in the 3rd Division, no one sees him as a kaiju or an enemy. Kafka is moved and calls out to his friend. He asks if he can still dream of fighting by her side. And she responds yes, she will always wait for him. Kafka is transported to the troops' naval base. Some members of the 3rd Division were still surprised by the revelation. Mina calls them to the room, and there she talks about transferring the soldiers to another division. The 3rd Division's base was heavily damaged and became unsuitable for recruits, so this would be a temporary measure. The Daikaijus attacked in succession, first number 9, then 10, leading superiors to suspect it's a catastrophe in sequence. They need to prepare for what's coming. They will take the most promising newcomers and train them beyond the limit. Most of them enlisted precisely because of Mina, but Reno thinks he needs to get stronger. Everyone agrees and stands by his side. Reno tells Kafka to wait for him. Later, Kikoru pays a visit to her father, the director. Shinomiya formally introduces herself and pleads for Kafka's execution to be suspended. She was already saved by him, and that should be taken into consideration. He calls her foolish. Mina had already talked about it, and he ridicules her, asking if she came to tell him her failures. He shows Kafka's X-ray, showing that his heart is actually a core. He is convinced that he is not human but a kaiju, just like the one that killed his wife. Kikoru makes it clear that she still believes in him nonetheless. Heading to Kafka, he thinks about convincing everyone that he is human. He just needs to do that and he can return to the group. At that moment, Director Shinomiya himself enters the room ordering Kafka to be released. He is a Daikaiju, there of his own free will. Kafka repeatedly says he's not a kaiju but a human. But the director ignores him and shoots Kafka. He manages to defend himself by transforming his arm. So the director says that someone who can stop bullets can't be human. But Kafka remains persistent. He is not kaiju number 8. He is Kafka Hibino. Isao couldn't care less and then retrieves his special weapon made from kaiju number 2. Incredible and powerful gauntlets are worn by him and synchronized with his brain, and thus Kafka's execution begins. Kafka decides not to fully transform and prove he is human, but Isao attacks him with a powerful blow that tears Kafka's arm off. The director delivers another blow that hits Kafka squarely. The director was the strongest in the history of the troop in his time. Kafka almost fully transforms to withstand the director's blow, and he sees that he now indeed looks more like a kaiju. The two engage in an incredible fight, and Kafka decides to dodge everything until the director tires. However, his body starts reacting strangely, the same sensation he felt when he fought the other Daikaijus, a monstrous aura emanating from the director. Kaiju number 2 appeared in 1972 and almost caused the destruction of Sapporo. It had immense destructive power, just like its pride. This was the kaiju used to make the director's suit and gauntlets. This was what Kikoru was talking about before, weapons made from numbered kaijus. Kafka is hit by multiple punches. He can't dodge in time and ends up losing his legs, then taking a direct blow from Isao. Kafka is hit hard and is forced to transform completely, but something strange happens. His body starts acting on its own exactly like a kaiju. And within his mind, he can see the parasite that infected him, saying they need to kill kaijus. Kafka begins to act literally like a kaiju, an untamed beast. Kikoru realizes something is wrong. That's not Kafka. Kaiju number 8 delivers a powerful blow, but Isao dodges and sees how fast Kafka is, but he's just a beast with random strikes. Suddenly, Kafka's body twists on itself, spinning his punch without losing power, and hits Isao, who defends himself with the gauntlets. It's a suicidal attack based on the healing factor. The kaiju unleashes a barrage of powerful blows. If it weren't for the kaiju number 2 shield, the director would have died already. Isao manages to push the kaiju away with a kick, then prepares a new strike, creating great pressure in the air. He aimed directly at the core, but there was nothing there. When the director realized the core was behind him, being used to regenerate the entire kaiju's body and strike back with full force. This fighting style is totally insane. Kafka is already at his limit. The fight between the two begins to break the walls of the base, which was built to withstand a fortitude of 10. It's to be expected. Numbers 2 and 8 face off face to face. They are evenly matched. Kikoru finds this incredible, but one of Isao's colleagues finds it strange. If it was to kill Kafka, it was better to have done it while he was still human. He then puts pressure on him to test him. Kikoru is intrigued by this. It seems her father is really giving Kafka a chance, but he's also risking his own life. The strength of Kafka doubles in size, his strength increasing more and more along with his lack of control. Inside, Kafka thinks he has to stop kaiju number 8 somehow. The kaiju attacks again, almost catching Isao, who dodges and counterattacks with a double blow. But this has no effect on the monster. The director then releases a large amount of energy for a massive attack, but Kaiju 8 unleashes a powerful roar that disperses the attack. Isao is caught and thrown against the wall with force. At this rate, Kikoru's father will end up dying there. Kafka can't let that happen under any circumstances. The kaiju throws Isao around while Kafka tries to regain control of that thing. But it seems all his efforts are in vain, and he is increasingly engulfed by the monster. Amidst all this, amidst all the promises and people he swore to protect, everyone trusts him, especially Mina, his closest friend. In that moment, Kafka gives his all to break free from his shackles, to prove that he did not become a monster. Thus, he uses all his willpower to deflect the kaiju's final blow onto himself, hitting his chest. He then says he is not kaiju number 8. He is Kafka Hibino. Afterwards, Kafka finally collapses, and his kaiju form dissipates. The director then asks Narumi to lower his weapon, which was ready to strike Kafka. Narumi is the captain of the 1st Division of the Defense Force. When he learned that the director did not request support, he thought Isao was seeking death. Indeed, the power of number 8 went well beyond his expectations. Thus, he asks the medical team to take care of Kafka when possible. He decided that kaiju number 8 would become part of the troop without becoming a weapon. Some council members are against this, but the director argues that there are no guarantees that the strength will remain the same after kaiju 8 becomes a weapon. Furthermore, he may not be compatible with anyone, just like number 6. The great catastrophe of kaiju number 6 swept away 200 members and 3 captains of the defense force, along with Isao's wife. Daikaijus are appearing more and more, and very few members are capable of dealing with them. Less than 30 are capable of handling Daikaijus, less than 10 can handle them solo, and even fewer can handle numbered kaijus. The troop can no longer handle mass catastrophes. The country would be easily destroyed. The overwhelming power of kaiju number may 8 be humanity's hope. Even under these conditions, the council is not in favor. Elsewhere, Kafka rested in a special capsule, remembering his old memories. Later, he finally wakes up, and their Isao watches over him. He realizes that he survived in the end and is immensely grateful that Isao is also alive. He could never look at Kikoru if something had happened. Perhaps now Isao sees him as human. But getting straight to the point, if Kafka had a heart, he could not have survived this, so in a way he is indeed a kaiju. However, it has not yet been decided what to do with him. Most of the council is against letting him live, so he will have to prove that he can be useful. Kafka still considers himself a member of the troupe and vows to make Isao think the same. Meanwhile, Kaiju number 9 somehow managed to enhance itself, leaving a husk behind. It's time to reclaim the power of the kaijus that humans stole.